So I know there's a lot of more students should be logging in a little bit later after 5, which is okay. But I want you to take this opportunity to talk to one of us, to talk to Elena, to talk to me, and to really take advantage of this time that we're going to have one-on-one with you. We really want to focus on working on your resume, any issues that you may have, any questions, any concerns that you want to talk to us about. We are here to help you out. And don't forget to register for the next event that's coming up next week, which is we're going to be talking about Handshake, how you can maximize your opportunities by finding and researching internships through the platform. So we're going to go through a little demo, and then we're going to do and then we're going to do an interview demo as well as one of the programs that we have, which is a big interview. So we'll go through it through the program so you can know what opportunities you have to practice your interview skills. So with that said, I'm going to head back to this. My slide's going too fast, but this is the outline I have. So at 5, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to transfer everybody to a breakout room, and Elena will give the presentation where she's going to share with you a lot of resources on how you can format your resume. Please engage, take the time to ask questions, take notes, take pictures, and then later on we can definitely set up a meeting or an appointment with you. Also, at 5:30, 5:45, we will change to another breakout room where I'm going to give you a presentation about LinkedIn. It's very important that you start putting those networking connections in place right now, especially you don't want to wait until your senior year. So we're going to go through the whole process of how you can create a very strong profile on LinkedIn. So I would appreciate for you to ask questions. If you want to share your screen, I'll be sharing my screen as well. We can go through it, okay? And then later on, we're gonna come back to the main room, and we're just gonna stay here for questions. So myself will be available after that on my breakout room. If you wanna ask me a one-on-one questions, I could definitely help you out. We still have it till 7 p.m. or until whenever you wanna stay with us too. I really appreciate you staying for the most of the time. Now take a picture. I can make this slide to stop. But take a picture of this. This is my information, my email, my phone number, College of Arts and Science, Mr. K. Barrientos. That's his email, that's his phone number. So Elena will also share that email on the presentation. So with that said, I'm gonna send everybody back to it. Leonard, you wanna go ahead and just introduce yourself, you and Selena? You're muted.
Yes, I know. The big sign came up. Oh, thank you, Yasmin and Elena. I appreciate you all helping us out and doing this. I think pretty much I know everyone in here. The only name I don't know right offhand is Joel there, but we'll certainly meet when we get into the breakout rooms there. But I am the president or chairman, depending on which organization you talk to. If it's the school, I'm the president. If it's ACM, I'm the chairman of the Association of Computing Machinery here on campus. And both myself and ACM welcome you here. And we're doing this with this series with the Mays Center in conjunction with the Women in Cybersecurity. And I'll leave that to Selena to talk about her organization.
Hello, I'm Selena Odias, and I'm the chair, president of Women in Cybersecurity, pronounced WISIS. And yeah, thank you for showing up, because we definitely feel that it's important. Internship is right around the corner. Deadlines are, up until October. So this is definitely the time to prepare yourself before you get that first interview, or even just before getting your interview. So on the hunt, in other words. So thank you for attending, and thank you, Yasmin and Elena and Leo.
No, thank you. And with that said, let me go ahead and assign everybody over there, and we'll get started. You take it away from here, Elena.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and transfer you.
Okay, I was like,
Okay.
Or do you guys want to stay here or want?
More people popping in. Okay. So I was just letting them know that I'm going to hang back for a little bit in case they have any questions about resumes afterwards or if they want to share. So that being said, let me share my screen. Okay. All right, so I know it lags a tiny bit, so please let me know if you can see it. If you can just give me a thumbs up.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, guys, so yeah, like I said, we'll be talking about resume writing, just the basics, and towards the very end, I'll actually post my email in case you guys want to reach out. That way, in case you haven't already visited us and received a template as well, I can also share with you that template that we'll kind of be looking over and discussing today. All right. So just on the chat, or if you want to mute yourselves, how many of you guys feel like your resume is good to go? So if you were talking to a recruiter tomorrow, you feel like you're going to hand it over confidently? Okay,
yes.
nice.
What?
Oh, okay, great, great. Love seeing that.
I've already handed over to 21, so.
Awesome.
There's always room for improvement, though.
Exactly, and that's why.
I'm not that confident. I mean, I think it's okay, but definitely needs improvement.
Awesome. Okay. So yeah, definitely always room for improvement. And as we'll talk about later, you should be formatting this to each individual job as much as you can. So like everyone technically should go and look at it once more before you hand it over to a recruiter looking for an internship or a job. So, there we go. Okay. So I'm just going to show you this chronological resume. I'm hoping that it looks very familiar to most of you. It's probably the most commonly used. And it's the one that draws attention to stable work history and professional growth. And it's easy to read. As you can see, summary of qualifications, education, experience, and activities are all pretty outlined. And it draws attention to what you needed to really quickly. And so really this is what we're going to talk about. And in your case, we're going to be modifying it to become a technical resume. And so really it's just looking like the chronological one we just saw. We're just really highlighting on that technical knowledge and the technical skills that you guys have probably either gathered through your own self-study, through school classes, through ACM meetings. And it's just kind of giving the employer basic ideas about your technical background and definitely directing like that reader to like the technical knowledge on that screen that they're looking at. So we're going to go step by step on this resume so we can talk a lot about it a little more. Okay, so when you start gathering your stuff for the resume, how to conquer the resume. So obviously you want to gather all the information, names, places, dates of employment, education. Typically I'll just encourage you guys to kind of have a master resume where you have all of these things like gathered in one place. And then as you go along, you can start to pick and choose what it is you want to include depending on the job or the internship you're looking at. And then keeping in mind what that recruiter is looking for. So you're going back each time and assessing your skills and experiences that relate to that type of position. Definitely outlining your resume and just making sure it's organized. Always review and edit and always ask for feedback. Even if it's not necessarily us at the Maze, you can send it to Selena or Leo so they can take a look at it as well and give you feedback if you feel more comfortable that way. Or even a professor or someone who's in that field. So I encourage you to always get feedback for sure. All right, so just to start off with the who, the where, and the how, we're just going to go to basics. So your name, and actually it should be probably about the biggest thing that's on your resume, first thing that they see, your name, your phone number, and an appropriate email or your school email, depending on which. Of course, you may want them to know that you're a Hello Kitty lover, or you may want them to know you're part of a certain organization, but just keep it as simple as possible. and guarantee that they'll email you if they need to. We really encourage you guys to put your LinkedIn. And then something else we talk about, especially for you guys, because you may have worked on it, if in your class or outside of class you worked on a portfolio or a website or something that you're particularly proud of and you feel like it's good to go and you're fine with someone clicking on it and opening it up, we would also highly encourage you to have it on here. And although I put this format for you guys to be easy to read, again, this formatting right here where it's like across the top of the screen and it's as minimal as possible and not taking up a lot of space is pretty much like the optimal formatting. So I'm going to stop right there and see if anyone has any questions. And like I said, you can type them in the chat as they pop up in your mind. The only thing I will say that I didn't touch on, and I don't know if anyone's thought of it, is where's your address? I will say that for the most part, unless you're looking at applying somewhere out of state or out of the country even, that's when you might want to consider including that address if that's going to be a factor that you want them to consider. Other than that, if you're typically looking around staying at the San Antonio area, it shouldn't be necessarily a big deal if it's not on there, or the employer will ask you for it. All right, so now we're moving on to summary of qualifications. So right under your name and your information right here. This is really something that is like a key part on your resume. And it's always going to be completely tailored to the job that you're looking at or the internship that you're looking at. So it's going to include key skills, relevant accomplishments, and just things that are relevant. And as you can see, here's an example of that. So you can kind of get an idea of what Mark T. Johnson is applying for. And the best way you can see what you're going to include here is always going to be whenever you're browsing through that job or through that internship description. I'm sure you guys have hopped online and seen what qualifications they're looking for. Depending on those qualifications, you're going to try to word it almost exactly to that. All right, so what do you think employers are looking for? Sorry, there's some noise.
Well, going back to the summary of qualifications, is it okay to put it in a little paragraph, or is it better to have it bullet point like that?
So that's a good question. So I think the best way I can answer that is the easier it is for an employer to just boom, 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 read through, the easier it is that they'll probably like take a second look at your resume or hand it off to someone else to recommend you. So yeah, typically we would encourage you to put it in a bullet point format so that way they can just touch on that. Because what we've heard from feedback from certain employers is that a paragraph, it may just seem like too much and they may not take the time to read through it all. So that is a good question. So definitely, these are some of the skills that you want to be thinking of when you're putting on your summary of qualifications. And they are very short. They are bullet point format. That's what we encourage you guys to have. And here's another example of summary of qualifications. But like I said, it's going to change depending on what internship or job you're looking at. And yeah, so just include whatever is most relevant to the job. And so I know with bullet point format, you may be more familiar with that when it comes to the actual job section of your resume. And really what these are is just kind of like, for example, if you're putting that you're bilingual or that you're proficient in Microsoft Word, Excel, that should definitely pop up later in your resume as well when you're talking about things that you've used at your previous jobs or stuff like that. And I'll kind of go into a little bit more as we go down in the resume. Okay, so education. Because most of you are students, well, all of you are students, this is definitely going to be the second most important part in your resume, is that you want to make it clear what your education level is, what bachelor's you're working on, your graduation date, and then of course your GPA is completely up to you whether you want to include it or not. I think we typically encourage like a 3.0 or above if you're comfortable putting that on there. So I would definitely encourage you guys to list that. If you've transferred as well, you will also feel free to include your community college, and anything below that, like high school, I would say that you're fine leaving it out at this point, especially if you're working on your bachelor's. And below education, I don't really have it on here, but you would want to include your certifications if you do have them, and then just make sure that to the right you're listing the dates that you acquired them. And then just be mindful as they expire or as you go back and refresh some of those certifications that you're putting the dates again. Oh, okay. All right, so after that, we're gonna look at employment history. Sorry guys, I think it's pausing. Okay, so after that, we're looking at employment history. And that one, this formatting is essentially what we want you guys to have. So we're starting with your most recent job first, and you want to include the jobs that you've had in the last 10 years. And then for the bullet points, use action verbs to highlight duties and achievements. We encourage you guys to be as detailed as possible, how frequently you did something, how many people you worked with or directed, stuff like that. And then we have 4 to 5 bullet points, but honestly, I would say that you can get away with 3 to 5 bullet points if it's been a while or if you weren't there very long. So I'm gonna pause right here on this one and see if anyone has any questions. Oh, sorry, Amber, let me just pause right here. So the GPA, it would be under, no, I can't go back. Let me move this over. So the GPA, can you guys see my arrow if I'm pointing on here on the screen? Okay, so GPA would technically be like right here. So San Antonio, guys, if you're at Texas A&M San Antonio and you have it listed out, you can probably leave it off. You wouldn't necessarily have to do this again. I would suggest you maybe bump December up to where San Antonio is, and then GPA can go right here. So the formatting on that is just, you know, trying to be as neat as possible. And then you also just would want to have it bolded, if that answered your question. Did anyone have any questions on the employment experience?
And if your employment experience isn't relevant, would the employment basically be at the bottom of the page and would and not necessarily right under education?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So,
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You know what, guys? I completely messed up. I'm actually missing a slide. So that's a good question, and thanks for catching that, Selena. I thought I had included the technical experience on here, and I guess I just completely missed that slide. So with work history and employment history, if that's not the most relevant, because most employers and recruiters, especially since you're students, do have some leeway because you are students. They'll understand that maybe you don't have like all of this like technical history just yet. What we do want to consider is like if the position does require maybe like some customer service or some collaboration skills, or if you've worked on a project by yourself and they're looking for someone who can, you know, self-direct themselves, that's stuff that you want to be thinking of, that you're including in your work history, even if your work history has nothing to do with technology just yet. But actually, let me hop back to this resume, guys. I apologize, I completely thought I added on here. Okay. So right under education, what we actually want to be thinking of for you guys is this technical knowledge, before we even jump into employment history. It just so happens that this person does have some technical experience. But we really encourage you guys to break it down by systems, by networking, any other help desk duties, software, cybersecurity. That's what really we're focusing on, because that's something that you guys either have, like I said, through class or through just something you've done in the past, if you do have that experience or something like that. So actually for you guys, it would be technical knowledge first, and then employment history probably towards the bottom, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you.
And I'm definitely happy to share this resume with you. Like I said, I will post my email. So you can email me, and whatever email you share with me, I'll go ahead and email you a copy of this template as well. So when we're done, you can work on yours.
I like how you have the course projects, because Leo's been talking about, applying the course projects to your resume just to show hands-on experience. So
Yeah, not only just your class projects, but also any projects that you might have done, like a hackathon or stuff like that. And especially if you can take a class project and expand upon what you did in class and show an employer that you can build, go more than just what you were instructed to do. It's always a big plus.
Yeah, absolutely, Leo. So yeah, for the course projects, I think a lot of students worry. And I mean, I've had this worry too as well. When I was an undergrad, is that I've done nothing in this field, but you guys probably have through the course projects that you're doing. And like I mentioned before, if you've already worked on building a website or something like that, that's all fair game to include in this resume. So yeah, course projects, and I think I have it on this slide as well. Let me go back down now. And I'll answer any of the questions in the chat. I see them popping up. Okay, so what you were saying, like the hackathon, that was in my others category, things that you can also include. So yeah, so extracurricular activities, even if it was a one-time thing, like this person here has 2 bullet points talking a little bit about what it is that they did when they did this event or volunteer event. That's something that you can definitely do. If you're a part of ACM or Women in Cyber, you can also include that as well. So anything that you do within these organizations is also something that not only can you include on your resume, but you can also expand upon an activity that you did that also kind of shows off more of the skills they were building.
I have a question.
Yes. What's
the line between like regular, homework and an actual project? Because I mean, some professors are like, you have a project every week. You have to write a code every week. So what's that line where it stops? You just throw it all into your resume?
I think the line would be, so if you're doing like a project like that every week, for example, you could actually, oh my goodness, guys, I wish I could show you on here, and I didn't include it.
So the general rule of thumb that I was told by other people was that if it's like a normal project that everyone is doing in the class, then it's probably not one that you want to necessarily highlight. But if it's a group project where you're doing something different from everyone else, then that would be one that you'd most likely want to highlight versus the one that, is the cookie cutter assignments.
Absolutely. And if you haven't had a big project like that, but you're having that class, for example, too, under our education section, let me jump back up. If you feel like you're getting like you're learning something out of that class, you can list relevant courses as well, or courses that you're currently taking. But we would encourage you to think on those like big projects, either individual or group projects, to like write something out like this. If you were thinking about that class where you're kind of doing something like week to week and you still feel like it's relevant, or like you could genuinely talk about it and because you've learned something out of it. Under education, it would be a relevant course section, and then you would list the courses that you want to include on there.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so did anyone have any questions on the work experience though, on the work experience section? And this is just kind of another example of how you could format that work experience.
Candace was inquiring, how do you use action words when you've never had a position to do that? She's a substitute teacher and just would like just to ask how she would word that.
Okay, yeah, so, and I see that Jane also asked if you're applying for your first internship and you haven't had like a job that's related to that. So the biggest thing is think about the skills that are transferable skills, essentially is what it's called. So skills that you've done at a certain job like childcare or retail that can still transfer into what you're looking into. And the best way to do that is actually, there's actually within the format that I have that I'll share with you guys, there's actually a whole list of action verbs that are broken down depending on the skill. So whether it's leadership, whether it's technical, whether it's creativity. So, and it's really going to depend on the job that you're looking at. You're going to want to be aware of what skills you really want to highlight or include. So if an internship, for example, maybe you're having to work with other interns and that's collaboration, you're going to want to make sure to highlight collaboration in the retail job you've had, or when you've worked in childcare, for example. Does that kind of answer the question? Okay. So and this is for military experience, since I just want to include this in here in case anyone didn't know how to maybe transfer some of their skills over. And we can go more into detail in this one-on-one if that was something someone was looking for. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that we had that resource available. So like I said, I did include an others category, and unfortunately I missed the technical experience category. But really, we do want you guys to include student organizations, volunteer work, and other memberships you've been a part of, because maybe that's something that's just going to be like one of the most relevant things on your resume that you may feel you want to highlight on. So yeah, like the hackathons, for example, if that's something that you've been a part of, definitely want to put that on there. I think often students miss out on adding their extracurriculars on here, and it's definitely adding on to like your resume and just other skills that you've got. Okay. And this is just like letting you guys know other things that we cover, such as cover letters, the LinkedIn profile that we're going to go over soon. And I don't want to go too over the time because I know I'm getting close.
Yeah. Do you want to take just a second, Elena, and talk on the previous slide? You had the first one was resume and then CV. Do you want to just talk like a minute on the difference?
Yes. So resumes, what we're talking about now, CVs, it almost looks a little bit like a resume, and they can be tricky if you haven't done one yourself. It's mostly highlighting on like academic work, research work, if you've done it with a professor, publications, stuff like that, awards you've gotten in school. So it's not so much a resume like focusing on like work and like technical skills and stuff like that. Cover letters, that one we really encourage you guys as you're working on maybe your first internship or your first job, going above and beyond and writing a cover letter for that particular organization and that committee hiring. It always leaves a good impression, even if you don't always necessarily get the job, and it's good practice. And then LinkedIn profile, I won't get it too much into because I know Yasmin's about to touch on that. And then practicing a mock interview, we'll touch on that for next time. All right, guys, so I'll leave this up as I'm talking about the questions that I might have missed. So just to let you guys know, we do have drop-ins. They started last week, actually. I did an update. And this is a good time to work on resumes and cover letters because we do have a career fair coming up. And then I know for you guys, this is about the time that you need to start looking into cyber and IT internships. I think this is when they start to go up, correct me if I'm mistaken. Okay, so you'll see those starting to pop up. All right, so let's see.
Is that career fair going to be virtual?
It is going to be virtual. So I think most of our events are going to be virtual, to be honest. And it might be on Handshake. So yeah, it's a really good time to practice internet web skills and just making sure you've got like your elevator pitch down, you're good to go. Because a lot of these are actually starting to become timed. So you'll have like maybe 10 minutes with a recruiter and you should be ready to ask all the questions you have and then pitch yourself before like, your time's up. Okay, so I'm gonna start from, actually I'll just start, okay. So our cover letter is more prominent now. It's kind of so-so. I will say that cover letters are just a big plus for students in general, just because, I mean, we're starting out, and I'll include myself in that as a student. We're really starting out our career, and so it just leaves a really good impression, and it also gives you a chance to explain anything about yourself professionally that you didn't necessarily get to in your resume. So, why you're looking forward to that particular position, how you heard about it, other skills and stuff that you didn't necessarily like have a chance to expand on, and give them like a little bit more taste of you, of like who you are and why you would be a good fit. So I would encourage cover letters, definitely. It also depends on the situation. Obviously, like if you're at a career fair, you might not get a chance to hand one over right at that moment. So it depends. Okay, I think I answered some about action verbs. And action verbs, really, guys, I'll share with you guys here. I don't know if you got my email the first time around, and you can certainly get it next time we leave the breakout room. But I really like this PDF format that breaks all the action verbs down for you, so you can kind of look at transferable skills and what action verbs go with that. So that is a big help. Okay.
Are you attempting to share that?
No, I was actually trying to see like what questions I missed. And please, you guys, if you have any, go ahead and still type them up. And do you know if Yasmin's pulling us out of this room? Or if y'all are hopping out?
I believe that she was going to pull us out of it once the time lapsed.
Okay, Amber, I don't know if I answered your question. So someone asked if, can you add your GPA even though you haven't graduated? Was that right? Yes, so yeah, you can, and for that, just make sure that as the semester changes into a new one, that your GPA is still like, you're changing it every time. If it's going up or down, depending on. And because I think most of you may be looking into internships, just be aware that you may have to share your GPA regardless, because some of those internships may ask for a certain GPA. So even if you don't want to, it might be something that they're still gonna ask. So I would just be aware that may be something they're gonna have.
Already asked for transcripts.
Yes, and transcripts.
And since a lot of it's for internships, the other thing you may want to consider if you don't have it on there is not necessarily, you started at TAMUSA in, August of 2017 to present. You should probably put a prospective graduation date there, because a lot of the companies are going to be looking specifically at that to determine if you're even qualified for their internship program.
Right. So that's a really good note, because they will ask sometimes, like, if you're a junior or a senior. It depends, or they may be like open to sophomores, but that's when you want to let them know, like, exactly, like, more or less when you're going to graduate. And I'm actually going to leave this here in case you guys had any questions on that. So like I said, guys, this is kind of like the basic resume. And the reason I say that is because I know that some of you may have something different online or very cool online. And we don't necessarily want you guys to get rid of that, but this is something that you could definitely just easily upload onto a PDF, since I'm guessing most of these fairs or things that you'll be attending are going to be virtual, and you want that formatting to just transfer over quickly. Normally, I would say that this is something you can print out and hand in, which is also true. But if you're gonna have like a really cool like virtual resume, definitely save that and put that up here where your LinkedIn and stuff would go. But this is something that you want. I know they say that sometimes too now, like it'll be like a computer quickly scanning through your resume. So you just want to make it as easy as possible to read through. I would say the hardest part about writing a resume is just getting the formatting right and making sure all the stuff is bolded right. Making sure that the correct things are not italicized or underlined. So on that part, that's probably going to be the longest thing on writing a resume. So I think that's all I had for you. And while we wait for Yasmin to start her presentation, I will leave this up here and answer any other questions that you had.
Can you recommend or give some pointers on an elevator speech, or, what, I mean, I know you have to keep it kind of short, but, because that's normally not as easy to just talk about yourself, in other words,
I think that's cat. I think that was the hardest part. The thing I do like right now virtually is that with the elevator pitch, you can actually type one out on Google Docs and just like copy paste. But definitely be ready to state your name, what your current education level is, whether you're a junior, senior, freshman, sophomore, what you're studying, and then talk about anything else regarding your qualifications, or actually it would be qualifications. And yes, it should be brief. It should be a little less than a minute. And you guys can, oh my goodness. And then it should be very brief. It's something that you can quickly just say, and then, or type in this case, because a lot of our virtual fairs so far we haven't had cameras, so it's been a lot of typing, but as the quicker the better.
Yeah, I went to the main campus one this summer, and it was very odd. You didn't see anyone. It was no voice. You would just type, and it wasn't a big fan.
Yeah, honestly, if you guys can, I know there's a ton going on, just fairs or webinars in general, and I encourage you guys to just hop on those and get as familiar as possible, because the formatting is strange, and it's a different pace than an in-person one. And like I said, we're thinking of using Handshake, so just giving you guys a heads up that typically with Handshake, you only get about like 10 to 15 minutes with an employer. So you definitely want to be more mindful with your time, as opposed to when you could just walk into a room and kind of scan it and figure out what you were going to say or who you were going to talk to. This is a little bit more intentional, so we do encourage you guys to get prepared know who you want to talk to and what you want to say or what you want to ask.
I actually had a elevator pitch by trial. I had a mentor who, on the way to going to an elevator, told me what an elevator pitch was. And then she pushed me into the elevator that just happened to have the head of a department there and said, go talk about yourself, and made me go ride the elevator and talk about myself.
Nice. How was it?
I learned on the spot, and now she remembers me, so.
And I mean, that's essentially what it is. It's just kind of, well, you definitely want to like more or less know what you're gonna say. So I mean, I guess you don't know whenever you're gonna get shoved into an elevator.
Come to the LinkedIn profile and start being active on it. This is another social media platform that a lot of recruiters, a lot of companies are using to bring the best talent, because they're knowing how you're interacting, they're knowing your information, they're knowing your professional connections. So it's very important, if you do not have a profile and you want to later on set up an appointment, we can definitely go step by step on it, which I'm going to do through here. Okay. So with that said, I'm going to go a little bit, make it a little bit bigger in here. So it's very important that you do a professional headshot. Here at the May Center, we haven't set up the schedule yet of what's going to happen because of social distancing, but we were having a session where every one day out of the month, we were providing those pictures to students. So we are gonna retake that back for the fall semester. It's still in the works right now, but if you do not have a full professional picture, I recommend you to reach out to me to send me a picture and email, and then we can work an appointment or something to get you that professional headshot if you don't have one. I'm sure if everything gets better for spring semester, we'll retake it every 2 weeks for the spring semester. So that's a great opportunity. That's the number one. If you do not have a good picture or you don't have a picture, recruiters are not going to bother to click on it. And the more you think and the more I want to go around it, it's not going to happen. It's me as professional and I don't have that much of experience. And if I see a file that doesn't have a picture, I don't bother to click on it. You may have a very good background and you may have a good, but I want to see who is it and face to face. I want to put a face to a record, and that can only be with a picture. So you are promoting your personal brand by putting a very professional picture on it. Okay, so there's a lot of sections in here, add profile sections. There's a lot of sections in here that you can go and add and remove depending on how you're moving on your career, how many classes you're taking, or if your career is taking a different route, then there's a lot of sections in here that you can remove and add back on your profile. So going with the photo, right, is professional headshot right here. And then this is a background picture that you can edit. You can put whatever is your interest, technology. I usually relate my back to the university because I work there, and I'm gonna give you a demo of my profile as well. So you can just take a look at that information. So do not leave this background picture blue, which is the default picture. So if you have a profile, you want to start working on it, this blue picture that you have as a default, go ahead and change it. Put something basic that relates to your career. Okay, so headline is very important. Is your elevator pitch who you are? What is your passion? What is your goal? And how you're moving up on your career. So it seems like very simple, but a lot of times I see students having that challenge to coming up with that sentence or that box to fill. And that's because they're not practicing. It's not in that normal daily language. So it's also very important that you practice your elevator pitch. My name is, so of course you're not gonna write it like that, but it's like, I'm a student at Texas A&M San Antonio under this major with this GPA. My passion, I developed a passion for, and then you put your full statement, and I would like to take on any opportunity to volunteer, to serve the community on this, and that. So I see the struggle for a lot of students to craft this or draft it. Reach out to me if you have any questions concerning or you're questioning about it, okay? About section is a summary. It's a summary that is gonna tell the story about your objective on your resume. So you had a session right now with Elena about your resume, your objective, summary, qualifications. Well, this is what it is right here. You're telling your story and you're highlighting your skills. So you have the session for resume, and this is like a digital resume. So that was the whole purpose why we wanted for you to attend the resume session first. So later on, you're just gonna copy and paste. Once you have your resume completed, it's basically copy and paste. What do you do after your profile is completed? Then you're gonna start being active on it, okay? So the section, about section, it will be right here. And that's to tell your story and to highlight your skills. What is your passion? What skills do you have? Any certifications that you have? Anything that you're very innovative? Anything that you have developed? That will be in this section right here. Then as you start creating your profile, you will have a section where it's going to give you an option if you want some career advice. Now, if you leave it on, you'll probably be getting messages from other professionals in the field. They want to give you, they want to say, I'm available to you. I'm available if you have any questions. I have some background in information technologies. If you have any questions, feel free. And LinkedIn system will direct me or will tell me this person, this student is seeking information or advice. And then it's my not responsibility, because if it's my willingness to help you. So if you have that on, then you're probably getting some message that a professional is getting introduced to you, and that they're willing to connect with you and help you out if you have any questions. So this is very, very important. If you are willing to start getting some advice from professionals, to hear from professionals that have been on the field for more than you have been in the technical area, or however you want to call it, okay? So activity, I'm gonna skip on activity because the activity gets managed by you, and this is only gonna tell their story with the recruiters. I'm a recruiter, I'm jumping into your profile. The first thing I'm gonna see how you're active in here. Who are your professors? Why are you giving a like? Why you're commenting? What is your language when you're commenting in here? It's very important. Like I tell a lot of the students, this is very professional networking. It's another social media platform, but do not get it confused with Instagram, Facebook, any of that. Any negative comment in this, as a recruiter, I'm gonna see it. And I don't know if I wanna see that in my company. I don't wanna see if I wanna see that in my organization. So keep that in mind. Keep it as professional as possible. Religion, politics, all that is not recommended. You will see a lot of that, and you will be very tempted to go and reply to someone that is not agreeing with what's going on right now with diversity and inclusion. You may want to feel like, oh, I want to respond, but it's not good because it will stay on your file. So be very mindful with that. It's free to express you have the freedom of speech in here as well, but it's just very professional. And like I said, I'm gonna go back and highlight, 97 of the recruiters are using LinkedIn to find and to give you a job opportunity. So be very careful with your content that you're putting in there, and be very active as is related to your profile and to your experience. And with that, I'm gonna move down to experience. So experience, again, is coming from your resume. Whatever you're typing on your resume as your experience, this is where it's going to look. You're just going to copy and paste. You're going to make sure your logo of the company or where you're serving as an employee is matching what you're saying. And this is coming from your resume. It's no much of a difference with your resume. So make sure you keep it consistent. I know LinkedIn has a place for you to upload your resume, which is going to help you a lot if I'm a recruiter and I don't have time to go through your profile. I can just go directly and click on your documents, download it, print it out, save it on my computer, and move on. So I don't have time to go as a recruiter. That's why we always recommend to have it 100% completed and to be very active and to have it very clean. Education, pretty basic, again, is coming from your resume. So anything that you're doing at your education, any organizations you're involved, any accomplishments that you have, any certifications that you have, it will go on this piece right here, education. Okay, so LinkedIn is going to give you an option for you to add your skills, and that will, you can do up to 50 skills. Try that those skills will be the most unique skills that you can find. So communications is pretty basic and is pretty across. So try some new skills that you're doing. Try to search when I'm going to do the demo in a little bit, but when you're start typing, it's going to give you a list of what's out there that you can add to your profile, and that will be up to 50 skills. And then we're going to move down to honors, certifications, anything that you're very active at the school, it will be on this bottom section on your profile. This is information, again, is coming from your resume. So first of all, your resume. Get it done, get it clean, and then we can work your way up to doing the full profile on your LinkedIn. And the last piece that I have in here, it will be recommendations. If you're currently at a position where you can talk to your supervisor and say, hey, your manager, can you go ahead and go to LinkedIn and provide me with a recommendation of how I work, how I'm collaborating with the team, how like I'm supporting this office, this department, this position. So that can also be a big plus. If I'm a recruiter and I'm looking that you have some top leaders with some recommendations under your name, it's going to help you big time. So that's another recommendations on what to add on your profile. And then the last part will be the interest. And for the interest that I have in here, you can find student organizations, you can find companies of your interest, you can follow alumni, you can follow, there's a lot of information, a lot of groups in here that you can start following. And with that following, you're gonna start liking their comments, you're gonna start connecting with them, and then you're gonna start increasing your network, okay? So it's always good for you to find some mentors in here. My first advice that I give to all the students is connect with your professors first. They have a strong, very strong background on information technology, on computer science, or you name it. They will be your point of contact when it comes to finding a reference or finding you're wanting to do to grad school. You're gonna need a professor reference. So if you start making those connections right now, it's gonna be very beneficial for you. And any questions so far, I do want you to unmute yourself and have any comments. I'm gonna leave it for a few minutes. Any comments?
I didn't notice about the honors and the awards area, you know, that is, because I didn't realize that I should put down, you know, when I made the dean's list and the president's list, so.
Yes, this is very important that you put any achievements, any honors, anything that you've been receiving with a little statement of when happened and what date it happened. So that's always good to put in there, especially as a student, especially if you're looking for internships, and that's going to be very beneficial for you. Any other comment? How many in here do we have already a LinkedIn profile? Give a thumbs up or thumbs down. I don't know what we have in here. You do?
I have a LinkedIn profile, but it's still at intermediate. I haven't, and I just recently moved up to intermediate. So there's
Okay.
definitely some things that I need to put in.
Come on, Selena. I'm an all-star, apparently.
You are an all-star. He's my first endorsement.
Okay.
So, oh, that's a question about getting endorsements. I mean, is it okay to just inquire for friends and, you know, your connections to endorse you for your skills? Like Leo had endorsed me for the leadership, and as well as I did the same. I didn't even know how to do that. I just got a notification from him, which thank you, Leo.
Yes, definitely. You can request that from coworkers. So if you work on a project, well, I'm mentioning coworkers, but if you are working as a team for a project, you can always request that if they have their LinkedIn profile. And say, hey, we work on this project for classmates, team projects within classrooms. Tag your professor as your professor or get connected with your classmates on that as well. Yeah.
If y'all would like to share y'all's LinkedIn's in the chat and we can all connect if we haven't already.
Yeah, if you want to connect with, if you want to share with us, just type it in there and we can definitely connect with you. So I'm going to go ahead with that said, and no more questions. I'm moving in to show you about my profile. Okay. So this is my profile. Can everybody see it? Yes? Okay, I get some yes. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna do, and for the ones that already have it, is going to your home, right? I'm gonna navigate it through here. I'm gonna go, this is how it looks. But when you go to your profile, right, it's gonna have a different view. This is what I was talking about with the other handout. My first recommendation will be that you go and edit your profile link because you have to make it professional. So you're gonna click in here, and then this is your LinkedIn profile. If you put this on a resume, it's gonna look better than LinkedIn slash and 3454SWR, whatever. So if you go and make it, I have to put a number 2 because there was a number 1 already, and there was a number 0. So I went with number 2. So be mindful with this, take notes, take a picture. Again, I'm gonna do it again. You go to edit public profile right here, and it's gonna open it up, and you click on the little pencil, and then you make your corrections in there. Make it as professional as possible. Either your initial and then your last name, if it's already taken, then put your middle name in there. Work it in the best professional way that you can, because this will help you to put on your resume. And you don't want to have LinkedIn R45WS because it makes more sense when you put it this way. That's my first recommendation. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my profile, and this is where I was asking you for the picture. So this is the picture I have. If I delete my picture, this is the blue background it's going to give me. Okay. So you can always come back and update if you're finding a good picture that you like that is relevant to your career, then you can come and do it in here and update. You click on the and then you change your picture. Okay. So be very mindful with that. And like I said, I highly recommend you to not leave it blue and to always change it to change it with a good background picture. This is my headshot. Again, you click on the picture and you can change it. You can move the pictures. You can add, try to make it a professional picture. And then here's when I'm going to the pieces that you want to add in on your resume, on your profile. Okay, you add profile sections in here. And then you just click. There's a lot of stuff in here. You can add any links for the ones that have the e-portfolio and you want to add it in here. You're welcome to add it at the link in here. If you have any media, any PowerPoint, any projects, any reports that you work, you can click in here and add it in here as well. Any questions so far on this? And this is where you find the courses, the projects, the honors. Any languages,
Yes,
any
even test scores. That's oh, unless they're talking about like major test, not just from school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Sorry.
if you go here and then I'm just gonna, oh well, this one doesn't change, doesn't create. So if you took a test or certification or something that is related, then you can add it in here in this section. And everything that you add in here is going to come up on your profile, which will be, this is my profile. And that's where I'm going to navigate on it. So once you create your profile and you do your about section and the rest of the good passion that you have in here, then you have the activity and the follow and how you're managing or how you're moving forward with it. So this is open for everybody. This is open for any recruiter to see it. That was my whole reason why I was telling you, be careful what you're putting in there. Be very mindful of what you're liking and what you're not liking and the comments that you're putting in there. Everything, all this information can be seen across for anybody. My file is public, and the reason why I have it public is because I want to grow my network. I want to connect with others, not only career services, not only TAMUSA students, but across other universities as well, because that can open opportunities for me to go somewhere else as well. So I will highly recommend you to do it public. And once you do it public, then you have to be very careful what you're putting in here. Okay. Again, I'm going to go to the experience, and this is what I was telling you to do, which is put in copy and paste from your resume. So you click on add, and it's going to give you the title, the employment type, part-time, full-time, contract, internship, everything of you name it will be in here. And then this is what I'm talking about. Like if I work at HEB, I want to make sure I'm connecting with the logo, because that will give you a lot of feed on who's connected with HEB. So if you have the logo, then it's good. That's what we want to have on your resume. So you want to have every employer that you had connected or sync with the logo or with the real company's website. Okay, so there's location, dates, and you name it. Everything that you add in here, you can upload it. Also at the bottom, you have media where you can upload documents, websites, videos, presentations. All this information is here at the bottom. Now, one recommendation I have for you is if you created a report, if you created a presentation, and everything went well, or you went to a conference and you presented and you want to add that content in here, make sure you put a statement or you put your initials or your signature on it, because that belongs to you. That's your content. So you're the originator for the content, and that's one thing that I will advise for you to do. That way it doesn't get loaded and somebody else takes the credit for it.
Also, anything you upload, make sure you watermark it, basically.
Yes. Mm-hmm. or make it where it's not editable by others. Either way, I mean, that's just my advice. Again, education, you can add it in here. I came from San Antonio College. I got my bachelor's over here, and then I got working on my master's. Now, this is very important. It is actually bringing a lot of likes, and is something that a lot of recruiters are looking into it, especially with the pandemic and how we went across with working remote and how you were spending your time. So if you got to find any LinkedIn training, go ahead and add it to here. It will add by itself. If you completed the whole series, it's gonna say, hey, Jasmine was spending time on professional soft skills. And then there's no expiration date, and this is added automatically. So that's a big plus. Again, if you
where are those found? The LinkedIn.
The LinkedIn, it will be here, this section right here, LinkedIn
Oh, learning. Oh, okay.
And once you complete a series, whether it's one page, whether it's 30 minutes, my session, I think, was like 9 hours. But it was something that I was like going through some training. And after it's completed, it automatically gets in here. So you have the option to print out a certificate, and then you have the option to add it to your profile, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, congratulations.
So thank you. Here's the skills that I was telling you. So this is already pre-made. If you are trying to find something else, then you just type it, and it by itself is going to start adding it to it.
Anthony was inquiring, does it cost for the learning skills that's provided through LinkedIn?
This right here now. If you go to, I'll provide the resource. What's the name of the, it's that electronic library that we have across the city. What's the name of it? Bibliotech or something like that.
Biblioteca.
Yes, you get the free code to have access to all the LinkedIn learning material. So if you have a library, it's a bibliotech or something like that. I'll find it, and then I'll share it with the leaders, and they can probably send out an email. I think it's very cool because it's free, and there's a lot of great content in there. That's a good question. Here's our recommendations. So you can ask for a recommendation to your supervisor, and who do you want to ask? I want to ask my supervisor, Clarissa, and then what's your relationship? Well, she's my direct manager. And then what's your title? What was your title in here? If you want to contact any previous supervisor, it's going to give you the list in here. So I want to contact, who wasn't my supervisor here? Okay. So I'll go next, and then I'm going to type my message. Hi, Clarissa. Remember me when I was your employee at so-and-so company? Would you mind doing a recommendation for me to show my skills on how I perform in my, you call it the title of the position. And then you send it, and hopefully they'll have some time to send it to you. I have reached out to a couple of my supervisors, and I only have 2. Only gotten 2, so don't give up. Try it again. That's what I do. Accomplishments, languages will go this and this part. Again, you just click on the arrow here, and then you put any certifications, any projects, any organizations you're joining, any of that will go in this area. And then this is the interest. This is what I was telling you. I would recommend you that you join the May Centers for Experiential Learning page. We have a lot of great content in there, and we put a lot of tips, and we work with the recruiters to put any positions available here, and we just share a lot of great content in here. So if you are active, and if you want to start with your profile, that will be my first recommendation on to join the May Center one. And then you can start moving from there. Any questions so far? Yes.
I believe Anthony was inquiring if, is there too many certificates you can have on profile. But Leo had mentioned that he has about 100 or so, so.
Oh, no, I only have one certificate, but the
Oh.
employers and recruiters, I have about 100 plus recruiters on my page. Because
Oh,
Yes.
recruiters, oh.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a limit, not that I know, but you can put the credentials, credential IDs, the credential link, all that information is posted here. So you can constantly stop updating. Now, I do want to be mindful of being up to 10 years on your profile. So if it's something that is not relevant to what you're doing now, or how you're moving from your career, then it's no benefit to have it in here, basically. Good question. Any other question before I show you that we recommend the students to have at least 500 connections? So that's going to be your homework to do to start connecting. And my trick that I do is if you have a drink company, anybody here give me, go ahead and unmute and tell me your drink company. Just one.
FBI.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, so you're gonna go here, you're gonna click on it, and then you see the FBI has 7,153 employees that you can connect with. It is possible. You click in here, you're gonna find their titles, you're gonna find their locations, and you're gonna find what they do. So you wanna connect with, he's in San Antonio, and maybe he can give you some information.
Tricia, the third one down's a good one. She's a recruiter, so.
Yes, so be very mindful with the information you're obtaining from LinkedIn. So another recommendation I tell the students, if you're trying to build a very strong profile, find someone with a very strong profile. Look at their profile and then see what they have and how they started their career and how long have they been in the field. So that's information you have at your fingertips. It's not your Slack. You're not looking for anybody in particular. You're just kind of brainstorming information so you can build that on your profile. So that's the way I tell the students to do. That's the way I start building my profile. I go to other universities because I also follow them. I go to UTSA and I follow this university. And then from here, UTSA has, you see it following right here. UTSA has 5,613, and then I go here, and then I'll start going through it. No shame at all. I'll start going and looking, I'm like, oh, okay. And I see people from career services, and I connect with them. I'm like, oh, I also work on career services, and then I'll start making that connection with them. So you can do the same. If you're a beginner and you don't know how to, this is my recommendations. Find your company, and then start connecting with them. And anybody else that wants to share their drink company.
Lockheed Martin.
What was that again?
Lockheed Martin.
Barely hear you. Want to type it down? Or anybody that wants to type it. Okay. Let me go here. Woo! This one had 102,000. So you click in here, and you have a lot of work to do. You have a lot of connections in here. You can be mindful when you want to connect with someone. You want to add a note. You want to tell them, hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm a student at this university, senior level, and just wanted to reach out to you because I'm interested on this company. Send a note. Start connecting. Anybody else? Is this good? Is this helping you? Yes?
Yes, definitely didn't think about connecting to people that you want to connect to, like going to a different company and be like, hey, like I'm really interested in this company and this is, I don't want to push you out of your job, but I kind of like your job.
Yes. Yeah, and you can only do that by making those connections and making those statements. Now, especially with the pandemic, LinkedIn went crazy on connections. So it's going to continue. It's going to get better. And like I said on the presentation, 95% of recruiters are here and they're looking for job. I mean, they're giving job opportunities. So if you need to have your profile 100%, if you need any assistance with that, please reach out to me, to Elena, to Gabe Barrientos, to any of us at the May Center that can help you out to create this. Okay. Any other questions so far? So again, I'm going to emphasize, I'm going to go to my profile and I'm going to check edit your profile link. So it's going to be here, and make sure you have a very professional, because this needs to go on your resume. If I'm a recruiter and I'm on LinkedIn, and if I need your resume, I'm going to search you with this. So be very mindful and put that on your notes that you need to go back and edit your profile and make it very professional. So you're welcome to connect with me. You have my name in there. You have how my profile looks. So I hope to connect with you and you send me some requests. Any other questions so far?
I didn't realize that you could change or update the profile or the URL. Because
Yes.
mine has the extension of all the numbers, but I guess I could change and just remove all of that. So
Yes.
that's awesome.
So be mindful. If you change it once and you've been using it somewhere else, you need to go change everything else. Like I left it this way because I used it on my signature to connect with students. So if I go change it again, I have to go change everything else. Otherwise, they won't be able to find you. So if you're already at the beginning entry level of doing your profile, once you keep it like that and you're gonna start using it, then it's recommended to just leave it very professional and start using it from the beginning. So Anthony had a question. Yes, Anthony, about the professional headshots. Once we bring that program back, we're actually trying to set it up where you can just take the picture yourself with the electronics, but kind of set it up all the way, like with social distance it, and just go in the room and just take yourself as many pictures as you want. Once we bring it back and we still in the works, definitely we're going to be sharing out with the student leaders. So I'm sure they will be sharing that with the rest of the organization. So I see that the student organizations also have LinkedIn.
We should probably add our organizations in there. So I got you too, Selena.
Thank you.
Yes. So also connect with them. If you're at the senior level, I highly recommend you to look for the alumni. My connections. So you see when you're following people, it has it by titles. It breaks it down in groups. So it's either companies, groups, schools. And this is where I have this group, the group for the May Center and for the alumni and for the rest of the San Antonio Women in Technology as well. So connect with them, follow us. I guess it's follow us, right? Because it's a group, yeah. So request to be connected. I highly recommend you to do the alumni right now, especially since you're at the senior level and you want to connect. Dr. Mary Cooper put a lot of great content in here on how they can assist you even after you graduate, especially if you're struggling to get a job or if you're struggling to get any opportunity or you just need help. Dr. Mary Cooper is the one that can assist you with that after your graduation. And she has great content in here. Any other questions?
So she runs the alumni for Texas A&M San Antonio, is that what it is?
Yes, she's the
Okay.
director for the alumni affairs. And I know once you disconnect from the university or once you're very close to graduation, I get your point. You just want to get out, you just want to graduate, but don't forget there's networks, there's groups out there that you can come back and start connecting. So if you just add them to your page right now, later on, you can always refer back and just start making those connections. And so at one point you're going to graduate, right? We're looking forward. How many seniors do we have in here?
We have quite a few. Myself, Leo's a senior, I believe. Ria's a senior. Maria.
Mhm. So really,
I think
really looking forward
Amber.
for this. So at the senior level, I do recommend you to start joining the alumni as well. And we're gonna go through Handshake on the next session, next Friday, where I'm gonna show you how to update your Handshake profile to alumni, because that's gonna be very, very helpful once you graduate and you click on alumni, then you'll probably have higher chances because there's some companies that only offer full-time opportunities. Hi. Okay, anybody else that would like to discuss, we can move back to the main room and I will be there for questions. Anybody would like to set up an appointment to review any of this information, I can also stay back on the one-on-one session to discuss that and to write information down.
Yeah, I think that's where I stuck Elena, and I think she's still in that one, the one-on-one. So
Okay, she can also help with that. We're just basically writing information down. I don't think, yeah. If you wanna start moving everybody to the main room, and then from there, if you wanna talk to me on Elena one-on-one, and you wanna show me your document, or you wanna go with your profile, LinkedIn profile on a one-on-one, we can definitely do that in a separate room. Okay. You gotta leave.
okay, well, so
Well, yeah, I was like, how do
I
you do
can't
that?
send everyone to the main room because it's not available, but I can send them to other rooms.
This is not available.
I can send them to resume, or I can send them to one-on-one. So if you want to go to one-on-one, raise your hand and I'll send you to one-on-one to see Elena.
Okay, we have Anthony. He rose his hand.
Okay.
That's our first go.
And what I can do, Yasmin, since we still have the resume, I can send you over the resume. And then anyone else who wants a one-on-one, I can send you with Yasmin over to resume. So
Got it. You own it.
we have anyone else who wants one-on-one?
Want to go through their profile?
On either resume or,
Yeah, just send me there, and then if anybody wants to join me.
oh, send her too quick. Anyone want to go over?
And that's for the LinkedIn, correct? You can go ahead
No,
and
that's for
send.
both. That's for both. For both resume and for LinkedIn. So
Oh, okay. So where did you send Anthony? Is it,
she's with Elena.
because it shows that Elena has not joined.
Oh, is she not there? She's supposed to be there.
Should I jump in to see?
Yeah.
Let me check.
Dennis, you want one-on-one? Yes, okay. I'm going to send you with Elena. Hey, Amber, if you have any questions about that link I sent you, please feel free to ask. And go ahead too. And if you have, especially other the CS guys who are in your class, um, then yeah, I will in a second, Kane, as soon as Dennis is done. And then if you could send that link to the other people in your cybersecurity class, that would be great. Help them out. Bye, Amber. Robert, I would imagine you probably have like the best resume of everyone in here. I would hope, anyways.
Actually, I wanted to change mine because it's chronological, but I really just want to write a technical one since I don't have a lot of relevant job experience
Gotcha.
for IT.
You can't knock on her bedroom door and say, hey. You want to talk to your sister, or Kane, you want to talk to Elena?
I guess, yeah, if whoever it turns out to be, I don't know, whichever room
Okay.
is less busy.
All right. Try not, well, I'll send Kane there first. That way it's not quite, you know, we're not wasting the interwebs.
Yeah, they recently came through my neighborhood and started laying down the fiber for Google Fiber.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Finally,
so
huh? Because I
yeah,
think that was supposed to be done, what, like 5 or 6 years ago?
yeah, I remember all the articles are like, "Oh, it's coming," and then I was like, "Okay."
Yeah. Well, I know that when they started to put stuff in, there was a huge uproar because it wasn't that that you were going to get Google fiber, but the problem is they were putting all these little switch houses in the parks, and people were like, "What the heck? No, no, no! You can't do that."
Yeah, I remember. I only saw like one story about that in the news, but yeah.
It kind of all messed up. I don't know. All these jobs that were supposed to, because we were supposed to be like one of the premier cities, and it just kind of all fell apart.
I saw recently on LinkedIn actually, one of the job alerts I got was that Microsoft is opening up a data center here somewhere.
Oh,
And so
really?
they were, LinkedIn sent me a job alert for that.
Bet over on 151 somewhere.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of companies over there, and then I mean, you looking for a job or an internship?
At this point, probably an internship.
Okay, you going back to school next year?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So internship. So have you seen the link that I built on the GitHub repository?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
And I also have the spreadsheet as well.
Okay. I've been using the crap out of mine.
Yeah, I need to start applying. I just always come up with an excuse, but I know I need to sit down.
You gotta get going, because like
Yeah.
I just did USA. I didn't even know that this existed, but USA Real Estate, which is a totally separate company, and they're closing down on the 11th of October for applications. HEB is closing down at about that same time, so that's why we're trying to do this now. So get on it.
Yeah. I
I
feel
know.
like I should just go to the library maybe on campus one day and just hunker down with my laptop there and apply.
Yeah. So like during the boring classes, that's what I do. Not gonna lie. Oh. I don't know what that means. Not joined. I'll be back in a second. What?
Of transferable skills.
Mm-mm.
So I'll just share that with you too, so you can just hand that out to everyone. So it doesn't seem as scary to try to transfer.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. Hey, Leo.
Hello, hello.
Do we still have the other rooms, or everybody's kind of just now jumping back in?
I was in the LinkedIn room, and then I just left because everybody else did. So I guess this is the main room.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if people left the session or accidentally left the meeting.
I think they probably a little bit of both. I don't know who's left in the other room. Was it just with Yasmin one-on-one? Leo, do you know?
You're muted, by the way.
Yasmin's with Dennis. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, no one left. No one like totally left. But was I muted when I said I would be right back, Robert? I'm sorry.
So are there students in another room just hanging out?
No.
Okay, so everybody's left.
Yeah.
That didn't want to. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm
So
going to
she's
do?
one.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
You're working with Kane or Selena right now?
I think Kane was also waiting.
What's that?
I think I talked over Selena. Kane was just waiting also for his turn for Yasmin one-on-one.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we'll just hang out here, I guess.
So are you sharing screens? Maybe I should share my screen and we can look over my resume.
Sure.
A little fun, right? Okay, hold on, let me get to it.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
Better watch it, Leo. Okay, let's see.
I like how y'all have Maze Center backgrounds.
I know, honestly, someone made this for us because I don't think I could have come up with this background.
We definitely need to get our backgrounds. Like we recently went to a meeting with ACM at UTSA, and all their officers had the same ACM background. So it was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I think
Okay,
that's what they were going for, instead of us having our random backgrounds.
Yeah. Okay, let me see about sharing my screen real quick. Hold on. Okay, I should probably do it in a view. Oops, oh well. Can y'all see?
Yes.
Okay, let me, how do I get, why is this in this? Isn't there a way to view it like a document?
Mm,
I don't know.
Oh well, okay. So this is what I was talking about, that I had put mine as, you know, I definitely, it could be a lot cleaner after seeing the technical one that you were showing and putting this into bullet points. And I probably could narrow down some things because, or maybe I should read it out loud. Self-motivated and detail-oriented individual currently attending Texas A&M University, San Antonio, aiming to utilize my knowledge of IA, information assurance, principles, network security, and routing skills in an entry-level IT position to gain experience in planning, implementing, and maybe that's a lot, updating and monitoring security processes with a company who values, I probably needed a comma there, values ethical practices as well as quality security standards and policies. So then as for my oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh no, you go ahead.
Okay. And then I have my education, which now I see that I should definitely clean that up and, you know, like you said, put the GPA right here and expected graduation. Relevant courses should probably be bulleted down. And then for San Antonio College, because you were talking about all those awards and honors. So these are everything that I got at, I received, shouldn't say got, at San Antonio College. So should I need to move these awards and stuff down and just date them like off to the side?
Yeah, so they would say they would probably need to become their own section under your education.
Okay. So and then I have the Cisco credentials, where these are all the certs that I have. These two certs I received at San Antonio College. The level 1 computer forensics and the info cybersecurity. So, and then I just put my extracurricular activities. So I guess I can see how they should be bulleted in, because now that I'm just looking over it, it's a lot to read through.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes the thing with recruiters is they'll just kind of glance through it and yeah, exactly. So the easier it is to read with the bullet points, these, you know, even like your extracurricular activities, if you were to just separate those and then list the dates and everything, it's just faster to go through and see like what you were involved in. So, for example, like, you know, you being the president, you know, it's not as fast to read. So, you know, you definitely don't want to have them digging around through your resume trying to find certain information.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and then with additional skills, oh, okay. Okay.
And then somebody had told me even posting, putting conferences that you've been to, that is something to put, you know, because you're taking the time to.
Right. And then did you, in this case, I think I remember you mentioning this too. You just attended this conference, right? Or was that canceled?
It was canceled, but they went virtual.
Oh, okay, okay.
So technically I still, you know, saw, I attended, you know, the public speakings and, you know, workshops and stuff like that, which I didn't realize that everything that I joined gave you a certificate of completion.
Yeah, I was
Like
gonna say,
a continuing education certificates.
right. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, even with these conferences, you can definitely put the certificates that you earned or like write a little bit more about them if you wanted to go in detail.
Okay. So, and then as for like, I have work experience like all the way down because nothing's really relevant, you know, and that's the end. So I have that way at the bottom, I think.
Okay, okay.
But so, I mean, so I definitely make this their own, and possibly even relevant coursework on its own.
Agreed, yes.
And then just clean it up how you had it separated with the, you know, like the Texas A&M, the bachelor's on one side with just the date and GPA over here.
Yeah, definitely. I think just looking at your resume, I think one of the main things is definitely just cleaning up. Like I said, like formatting is definitely the probably most time consuming part. For the career objective, because I know you asked as far as like the paragraph, it is a bit of a long paragraph, and I would hate for you to get looked over just because someone didn't want to read over the paragraph. So because like one of the things, for example, too, is just being strategic with, like, this is at most like 2-page paper. So we want to be like as like to the point. So for example, in the paragraph you have Texas A&M San Antonio, that you're a student there, but of course in your education you've highlighted that already. So that's like, you know,
like
information.
repetitive, yeah.
Right. So that's where we just, and then if you go down to the bottom, you had like additional skills. So that's all stuff that, you know, you put additional skills like it's not that important, but in reality, like that first bullet point, configuration and troubleshooting, may be important to a person. So that's all stuff we just want to consider just pulling up to the top for that summary of qualifications. And just being strategic, like with the job you're looking for or the internship you're looking for, which ones we're going to keep or modify.
And then I also had a question. What would be a better way of, because I was like, does that sound weird, socially active? It's just trying to imply that, you know, that I'm open, you know, that I talk to people, and especially in the workplace or at school or whatever, you know, I enjoy socializing with people.
Yeah.
So would that be a correct term, socially active, or does that kind of sound silly?
I mean, I think there's, I see what you're getting at. I think there's better ways to phrase it possibly. And then I think you're going to back that up easily because they're going to see that in your professional experience, maybe that's something you're doing. And even if not, as president, you could even dedicate a couple of bullet points to you being president and talk a little bit about what you do for your organization, how you organize your like, you know, the group members, how you've reached out to the maze for, you know, professional development. So being socially active and encouraging teamwork, that's something you're doing as the president, but then also I'm sure that's something you're doing in your job or somewhere else. So it's just a matter of finding a way to, I guess, figure out how we're going to word it.
Mm-hmm.
Socially active.
So pull out the thesaurus.
Kind of.
Mm.
Kind of. I mean, that's essentially what I'm doing with the paper that I'm going to hand you guys, or that I'll email you to email out to everyone else. It's honestly just a thesaurus list of like leadership. It'll just have a bunch of action verbs that fall under leadership, and it's essentially, yeah, like a thesaurus. It just depends on what you're trying to convey. I guess in this case, what are you trying to say with that bullet point? I guess if I was going to ask you.
I think that I was just trying to imply that, you know, that I work well, you know, with people, and I'm not necessarily an introvert, I guess you would say. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, like just keep, you know, being able to keep the morale up when you're even in a work environment, you know, to be social is always, I guess that's what I was trying to imply, and just ready to be a team player as well. So
Yeah, definitely. And then, I mean, that could just be like you using words like collaboration or like team oriented, and then just going into detail in how, like later in your bullet points, and definitely giving an example.
okay.
But I think your resume, if I was going to give you the most feedback, it's definitely just the formatting.
Mm-hmm.
And just making sure that everything's formatted correctly. And then, especially in a professional experience, just breaking it down to bullet points too. I see that you have things like the sales, like you have numbers and details, but again, it's a paragraph, and I'm honestly just concerned that someone wouldn't read over it again just because they just want to see the bullet points in there as well.
Exactly. Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate all the feedback. And I will definitely send it back in once it's revised.
Yeah, so I'll actually, oh no, I have your email. I don't know why I was going to ask you for that again.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing unless anybody has a question. So it looks like we have quite a few participants back in.